Have you ever seen one match completely change a player's future? Because that is exactly what happened in Berlin. Eala walked onto the court as the underdog that almost nobody believed in. But just hours later, the entire tennis world was talking about her. Against one of the tournament favorites, she delivered a fearless performance that stunned the crowd, shocked the commentators, and left fans asking one question: has a new tennis superstar finally arrived? Stay with us, because what unfolded in this semi-final was far bigger than anyone expected. A single rally can rewrite a career. And in Berlin, it did. Eala walked into the semi-final as an underdog and left as a statement maker, stunning Linda Nosková in a match fans cannot stop replaying. It was not fluke or fortune. It was fierce strategy, calm under fire, and bravery at exactly the right moments. Watch closely, because this match reveals how momentum, tactics, and mental steel collide on the biggest stages. The opening. When the narrative began to shift, Eala stepped onto Berlin's clay with quiet focus, while the crowd favored the more familiar name. Expectations were stacked, but underdogs have a way of turning assumptions on their head. From the very first exchanges, something felt different. Precision where there could have been panic. Patience where there could have been rush. Eala walked onto that red clay with a quiet confidence that belied the frenzy building in the stands. Few expected her to topple the towering form of Nosková, a player riding a wave of form and media attention. Yet by the close of the first set, whispers had turned into stunned silence, and then into a roaring chorus of disbelief and admiration. This was not just another upset. It felt like a passing of a torch. A raw, unpredictable moment that tennis thrives on. For fans, pundits, and casual viewers tuning in, what happened next rewrote expectations entirely and forced everyone to rethink both players' trajectories. From the opening exchanges, it was clear Eala would not be intimidated by reputation. Her footwork was sharp, her angles inventive, and she attacked Nosková's backhand with a blend of patience and fearless aggression. Nosková, known for her baseline power and high-energy rallies, tried to impose her rhythm, but Eala's timing and court craft completely dismantled that plan. The scoreboard reflected more than just points. It reflected momentum, growing pressure, and a shifting psychological edge. The tactics, what was really happening out there? Eala's success traced back to two crucial tactical choices. First, she varied pace and targeted Nosková's weaker wing, forcing uncomfortable transitions. Second, she mixed slices and drop shots at key moments, breaking Nosková's preferred rhythm and making her adjust repeatedly on a surface that rewards endurance. These tactical subtleties, often overlooked in highlight reels, are what separate talented young players from those truly ready for the biggest stages. This chapter of the match showcased mental fortitude just as much as technique. Eala's composure under pressure turned several critical points into defining moments. Rather than chasing winners on every ball, she built rallies intelligently, using spin and placement to create openings. Nosková, conversely, began to show signs of frustration. Tighter grips, shorter swings, and a handful of unforced errors at the worst possible moments. Those small cracks were all Eala needed. For spectators, the narrative arc was compelling. The script had all the ingredients of classic drama: the established favorite, the rising challenger, a pivotal moment, and the intoxicating possibility of an upset. But beyond the drama, there was real substance. Eala's performance was not a flash of luck. It was a strategically executed plan, underpinned by resilience and adaptability. As the crowd absorbed what had happened in those opening stages, one thing became clear. This was more than a single victory. It was a statement. The second set, adjustments, nerves, and the decisive moments upsets look chaotic on the surface, but they're almost always the product of precise choices. Eala's game revealed a chess-like approach throughout, varying pace, exploiting angles, and knowing exactly when to shorten points. The second set opened with a different tempo. Nosková regrouped and came out with renewed aggression, attempting to reclaim the initiative through deeper returns and quicker transitions to offense. For a period, her strategy worked. She pushed Eala behind the baseline and dictated the pace. But tennis at this level is as much about in-match adjustments as pre-match preparation. Eala's ability to read those adjustments and respond intelligently turned what could have been a momentum shift into another opportunity. The key turning points came at the highest pressure junctures, service games that could define the set, and break points that demanded nerves of steel. Eala delivered clutch serving and an impressive net game, stepping in to cut points short and prevent the long rallies that suited Nosková. Those decisions were risky on paper, yet they worked precisely because she executed them with complete conviction. From a technical standpoint, Eala improved her first serve percentage at critical stretches, reducing the time Nosková had to attack. She also increased the depth of her returns, pinning Nosková back and eliminating her preferred hitting angles. When Nosková did find her rhythm, Eala countered with variety: kick serves to the body, low skidding slices, and well-timed drop shots that forced awkward recoveries. Each tactical move felt deliberate, like a player and coach in perfect sync, mapping the court and finding micro-advantages at every turn. Emotionally, the match swung like a pendulum. Nosková's frustration, visible in clenched fists and brief pauses between points, provided subtle psychological edges for Eala, who remained composed and focused at the baseline. In high-stakes moments, composure often trumps raw power. That mental steadiness allowed Eala to convert crucial break points and seal the set, tilting both the scoreboard and the psychological momentum firmly in her favor. This tactical breakdown proves one thing: upsets are never accidental. They are built from preparation, adaptability, and fearless decision-making under pressure. Eala's approach in this set offers a genuine blueprint for how emerging players can unsettle higher-ranked opponents, blend variety with timing, and maintain psychological control when the margin for error all but disappears. The crowd, how the arena became part of the match. A match becomes legendary when atmosphere and performance collide. In Berlin, the crowd did not just watch, they participated. They influenced swings in momentum, amplified pressure, and reshaped the public story of the match in real time. From the opening ball toss to the final exchanges of the middle sets, the crowd's energy was a living element in the contest. When Eala pulled off an inventive winner or saved a break point, a ripple of disbelief turned into sustained applause. That reaction did more than reward her. It reinforced her belief and visibly altered the tone of her play. Nosková, by contrast, found herself in a very different role. Occasional grumbles and gasps followed her errors, subtly changing the expected dynamic of crowd support. Pressure at this level manifests physically: tightening shoulders, shorter backswings, hesitancy on split-second decisions. It also appears in micro-behaviors: stalling between points, longer towel breaks, brief exchanges with the chair umpire. Eala's ability to appear entirely unaffected by these pressures hinted at rigorous mental preparation. She managed her breathing, maintained reset routines, and kept a scoreboard focus that kept panic completely out of her baseline game. Those small rituals stabilized her across every swing in fortune. Media narratives reacted in real time. Commentators alternated between shock and analysis, highlighting Eala's tactical maturity and Nosková's search for answers. Social feeds exploded with clips from the match's turning points, each one framing the story anew. Was this a breakout performance by a future star or a one-off upset? For fans, the shifting narrative made the match more than just a contest. It became a cultural moment with the power to reshape reputations. The crowd's role in this match underscores a simple truth. Tennis is played in the public eye, and momentum is as much a social phenomenon as a technical one. Players who harness crowd energy can amplify their strengths. Those who succumb to its pressure may find their game unraveling point by point. Tonight, Eala harnessed it. Nosková felt it. The arena emptied with two very different stories, one of ascent, one of introspection, and a memory that will color both players' seasons for months to come. The aftermath: what Berlin means for both players going forward. A result like this echoes far beyond one scoreboard. For Eala, the immediate aftermath is pure opportunity. Breakthrough wins at significant events attract sponsor attention, open doors to higher-profile tournaments, and do something even more important: they reshape a young player's belief system from the inside out. But capitalizing on a moment like this requires structure. Coaches must translate the match's key strengths, varied game plans, mental toughness, clutch serving, into repeatable blueprints that hold up week after week. Physical conditioning will also come under scrutiny. Success at higher levels demands enhanced endurance and recovery protocols to sustain that kind of performance across long, grueling weeks on tour. From an analytical standpoint, consistency will determine whether tonight becomes a launch pad or an isolated high point. Eala's team should prioritize identifying which tactical elements produce this upset and drilling them into her default game. That means practicing transitional net play, sharpening first serve percentages under pressure, and refining the movement patterns that allowed her to neutralize Noskova's power so effectively. Noskova, meanwhile, faces a different but far from terminal test. Losses like this can absolutely catalyze growth, if addressed methodically. Tactical adjustments could include improving point construction against players who vary pace heavily, or incorporating more defensive shaping to counter low-bouncing slices. Equally important is mental recalibration, working with sports psychologists on reframing unforced errors and handling hostile momentum swings with greater composure. The match also affects rankings and seedings in upcoming tournaments, which directly influence draw difficulty. But beyond the points, it reshapes how opponents approach future encounters. Eala will no longer be underestimated. Noskova will be studied for vulnerabilities. Coaches across the entire tour will watch the tape, looking for patterns they can exploit or learn from. Careers are marathons, not sprints. Tonight's result is a significant waypoint for Eala, a platform, if she builds on it. For Noskova, it is a diagnostic moment, if she interprets it honestly. Both players will chart their responses, and those responses will determine whether Berlin is remembered as a turning point or merely a footnote. The viral explosion. How social media gave this match a second life within minutes. The highlight clips were everywhere. Memes, analysis threads, and heated takes flooded timelines across every platform. The digital echo of this match became its second stage entirely, shaping narratives and career perceptions in ways that were unimaginable even a decade ago. Social media transformed tonight's match from a 2-hour event into a round-the-clock conversation. Short clips of Eala's best shots circulated alongside reaction captions, tactical breakdowns, and threads dissecting every key moment. Former pros and influential voices weighed in, offering both glowing praise and measured critique. The sheer breadth of commentary demonstrates how sports moments now carry multi-layered afterlives, fueling highlight reels, influencing markets, and shaping athlete brands simultaneously. Fan reactions were emotional and divided. Some celebrated Eala as a national hero and future Grand Slam contender. Others urged patience and perspective, cautioning against getting swept up in the hype after a single match. Noskova supporters defended her track record fiercely and pointed to her potential for a strong rebound. These polarized responses are part of the modern fan economy, where narrative momentum can bolster or damage reputations almost overnight. Beyond the immediate reactions, the match surfaces larger trends in women's tennis. Rising depth across the tour means upsets are increasingly common, and players who adapt tactically gain real advantages. The result also speaks to global talent pipelines, how players from diverse backgrounds are breaking through thanks to improved coaching, better access, and more competitive opportunities at every level. For content creators and media outlets, moments like this are pure gold. They spark debates, generate engagement, and allow for rich storytelling around technique, psychology, and human drama all at once. For the players themselves, however, the digital spotlight is double-edged. It brings opportunity, but it also magnifies every mistake and amplifies pressure in ways that can be difficult to manage. The key takeaway is this: sport is storytelling. And tonight, Berlin authored a genuinely compelling chapter. Fans will debate its significance. Coaches will dissect the footage. And both players will carry its lessons forward into the rest of their seasons. Whether you view it as a breakout or a wake-up call, this match leaves a mark. One that will appear in highlight reels, coaching notes, and the evolving narratives of two of the most interesting players in women's tennis right now. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay ahead of the biggest stories in tennis, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a moment. This is Tennis Unfiltered.